So I fell in love with the ocean because I absolutely love ocean animals. And two of my favorite ocean animals are whale sharks and nudibranchs. And I'm sure many of you have a lot of favorite ocean animals as well. Feel free to whisper it in the ear of somebody beside you if you're in a classroom, or if you're joining through Zoom, you can message us in the chat too, and we'll read through and see what some people's favorite ocean animals are. All right, we can go over to the next slide. So the ocean is very, very important to us. But right now, the ocean is facing a variety of threats. And some of these are threats that OceanWise is working towards solving. And they can include things like plastic pollution, overfishing, climate change, some natural disasters, and things like that. Next slide. So I work for OceanWise, and we are an ocean conservation organization, and we are on a mission to protect and restore the world's oceans. Next slide. And the way we're doing that is by focusing on three main issues that the ocean is facing right now, which is ocean pollution, overfishing, and climate change, which are three things that I'm sure many of us are very, very familiar with, and we've probably talked about over and over and over again. But we are trying to tackle these three issues because we found that these are the three main things that the ocean is facing right now. Next slide. My friends, the ocean is important to us for so many different reasons, but before I get into why it's so important, I would love to know why it is so important to you. So maybe Rebecca, if you want to jump in and you can tell me why the ocean is important to you, but if any students want to message as well or answer from the class, that would be lovely too.
I can also open this up to my friends here. If anybody has a thought of why the ocean would be important to them, raise your hand. But while you're thinking, I can tell you mine. For me, the ocean is important to me because I like to breathe oxygen. And I don't think a lot of people know, but the ocean actually produces most of the oxygen that we breathe, or a large portion of it. So as somebody who enjoys breathing and being alive, that's what I love about the ocean. I saw a hand over here. Oh, no, that was yours. I took one from a kid. Alistair, what do you think?
I live on the Mexican coast, so I live right next to the ocean. So I usually like the salty breeze. And my friend's dad, he has a boat. We usually go sometimes to a beach, and it's really fun. We get to swim all the time.
That's amazing. Yeah, like we connect to the ocean in so many recreational ways as well. Like obviously breathing is great and it's going to be the most important thing, but water in the ocean represents so much culturally as well. It's such a great space for communities to come together and spend time with each other. So absolutely, that's a great answer. Was there anybody else who wanted to share, or should we move on?
Mathia?
You're the first person who's ever said my name correctly. On first try. Other than my mother, but but I love the ocean because it has my favorite animal, a shark.
Mm-hmm.
And most people think that those things are really dangerous, but they're not really. They just are either scared or curious.
Exactly. Yes.
So that's why it's important to me. But the one thing I wanted to point out is that when you inhale the air, inhale the water, it really tastes gross. Yes, I was in Mexico once, and I went to the ocean, and I accidentally swallowed some of the water, and it tasted so salty.
Yeah, that's a bad idea. Hopefully no more ocean water in anybody else's mouth. Ashley, I see your hand raised, but we do want to get through the part. If you don't mind, you could send in your answer in the chat and maybe we can all take a chance to read it together. But thank you so much for wanting to share. Sweet. All right, yeah, so these are all great points. So obviously we need it to breathe. We use it to get together with community and recreationally, and then also the animals that live inside of it, and studying those animals, understanding those animals better is a really important part in why the ocean is so important to people around the world. We can go over to the next slide. the ocean is important to us in many, many different ways. We're all connected to each other through our water and we rely on it. It's incredibly diverse and extremely beautiful. And we use it as a source of water, food, medicine. Oh, sorry, you just got to press next one more time. And it also inspires cultures around the world. And it helps produce, like Rebecca said, most of the oxygen that we breathe as well. It produces around 65% of the oxygen that we breathe. Water holds so much meaning and significance to people around the world. And for me in specific, water can also be seen as an area to meditate, and water is used to pray as a sacred element as well. And I'm sure we all have so many stories that connect us to water around the world. In the next slide, I have a video of my friend.
I think there might be a little bit of a tech issue with. Oh, okay, we're working now. Sorry, go ahead.
There we go. Okay. After this slide, we have a video of Ngega, and she is an Indigenous knowledge specialist, and she is going to share some of her connections to the ocean as well. So go ahead. We can play the video. Oh, I don't think we can hear it.
You might need to stop and reshare with audio shared as well.
Since time
There we go.
they have relied on one another in a reciprocal relationship. My people, the Musqueam, have never viewed themselves as above the water, but one with the water. I was taught that the ocean is the heart of the world, highlighting its importance to us to take care of it. From the beginning of time, we have been taught from generation to generation how to observe the seasonal changes to the environment around us. We never take more than what is needed and are sure not to waste. For example, every piece of the salmon is used and the bones are returned back to the water, and a prayer of thanks is given.
Super weird that Rebecca can't hear it, but for those of us who couldn't hear it, essentially Abigail was saying that in her Musqueam community, no matter what they took from the ocean, they would make sure to use as much of it as they could and then even return it back to the ocean as an offering of thanks. So for example, if they would harvest or catch salmon, they would consume the salmon, use up every part of it, and then return the bones back into the ocean as a prayer of thanks. And that's one thing that I think we can all learn from. I think there's so many ways that we can better respect the ocean in all the ways that we use it and everything that we get from it. Next slide, Sarah. All right, so on that note, we're actually going to jump into a really fun game, and I need everybody to get their thumbs ready for this one. We are going to play a game of higher or lower. I'm going to give a little prompt, and I want everybody to guess if we use more water or less water than what is suggested on the slide, okay? So let's go off to the first round. We can go over to the next slide. All right, so a family of 3 uses 400 liters of water daily. What do we think? Show me a thumbs up if you think we use more than 400 liters, a thumbs down if we use less. All right, getting your votes. And you can also send it in the chat as well. All right, next slide to get the answer. And the answer is indeed higher. It's actually 630 liters on average for a 3-person household, which is around 4 full bathtubs of water on average. All right, next one. For a pair of jeans, do we think it takes more or less than 9,000 liters of water? It's hard to imagine 9,000 liters of water for one pair of jeans. What do we think? All right, get your answers in, and we're going to show the answer in 3, 2, 1. Over to the next slide. And the answer is lower, but not by much. It is still 7,600 liters of water for one pair of jeans. So we are still using loads and loads of water for a pair of pants. All right, next one. All right, for one egg, do we think we are using more or less than 50 liters of water? Get those answers in. All right, we're going to show the answer in 3, 2, 1. The answer is higher. It is actually, click one more time. It is 200 liters of water for one single egg, which is approximately 100 jugs of water. Now, this is the water that's going to be used for everything from hydrating that chicken that's going to lay that egg, all the way down to growing the food that that chicken needs to eat, the water that it's going to be used to maybe produce different types of electricity that we might need to ship that egg and power any facilities that that egg is going to be growing in. So lots and lots of water is used to produce even a single egg that we don't realize. And last one we are going to do, for a piece of meat, for a pound of beef, what do we think? Is it more or less than 4,000 liters of water? And we will show the answers in 3, 2, 1. All right, it is higher. It is around 7,000 liters of water for 1 pound of beef. So with this activity, clearly, we can see that we use a lot of water. But in order to protect our ocean, we have to be careful how much we're consuming and the effects that our consumption can have on our ocean. High consumption levels are really, really influencing different things that the ocean is experiencing, like climate change in specific. In the next slide, I'll explain kind of what climate change is. So we've heard so much about climate change, but what exactly is it? It is severely impacting our oceans, and it affects plant and animal health. It affects food availability, cleanliness, and also sea temperatures. It's also heavily impacting people around the world. But what exactly is it? Click for me one more time, Sarah. Climate change is a long-term change in global or region climate average weather patterns. So if we observe weather over the duration of a certain amount of years, we can see that our sea temperatures are rising and global temperature is rising as well. So that means climate change is in fact taking place, and it is affecting things like our ocean, the ecosystems, the animals that live inside of it. Next slide, Sarah. For the example, one part in specific of the world that's being really affected is the Arctic Circle. And Sarah, you can click for me, I think 3 times here. So climate change is obviously affecting the Arctic Circle a lot. So the Arctic Circle is one of 2 polar circles. It's the most northerly one, and it's very, very cold there. But because of climate change, the ice used to cover around 4% of the Earth's surface, but between the 80s and 2020, ice cover shrunk by around 13%, and that's only in the last 30 years. And even ice that exists now is melting and is a lot thinner and weaker. And this can be really, really bad for multiple reasons. Next slide, please. It's obviously bad for the environment because that permafrost acts as a carbon sink, but it's also bad for all these animals that rely on the Arctic as their home, and also the communities that live there as well. Click one more time, Sarah. The Arctic is home to millions of indigenous communities as well. And if there's no more Arctic ice, that messes with food chains, that messes with migration patterns, and that messes with the houses and the homes for animals and people alike. So obviously protecting the ocean and trying to find a solution to climate change is going to be significantly important for all of these communities. Next slide, please. I did have a question here, but maybe we can all just reflect about it, seeing as we're running a little bit late. But maybe we can all just think about this as a reflection question. What changes have you seen near you due to climate change, right? Obviously, a lot of us have noticed that maybe our summers, we don't get as much snow, right? In Canada in specific, especially, we're not really getting as much snow as we normally would. That would be an observation. But maybe you can all talk about wherever you're joining from and share with people, or just write down somewhere what changes you have seen. All right, next slide. But don't worry, I'm not going to leave you with just kind of, climate change is happening and it's really, really dangerous for the ocean and for the environment. I would love to share with you what you can do to help. So one thing that we can do is reduce consumption. So the more we buy things and the more we import things, the more ships we have on the ocean, the more planes we have in the sky, the more trucks we have on the road. By reducing our consumption and only consuming what we need, we are reducing the need for excess shipping, right? Which can obviously reduce the amount of pollution that is taking place in the environment. So, reduce consumption. And also, if you are going to buy something, maybe buy something used and you can give it a new life. Or you can buy something that is locally made so that you're reducing some of that shipping as well. The next thing that you can do is do what you're doing today, which is learn and support. So continue learning about what's going on around the world and support organizations and people that are working hard to do something for climate change and for the ocean. And the last thing that you can do, and my favorite thing to suggest to folks everywhere, is to tell your friends and family what you learn. Knowledge is so, so, so invaluable. You can't put a value to how much you can learn and what you can share in what you learn. So let's not gatekeep what we learned. If you feel like you learned something new today or during any of your conservation journeys, take what you learn and share it with your friends and with your family and with your community. So we can all continue learning together and finding solutions for climate change together, because it's no one person's responsibility. All of us can work together to do this. Next slide, please. And I will wrap it up here. My friends, at Oceanwise, if you're living in Canada, if you are buying seafood, we actually have a recommendation for seafood options. So if you go to the fish market and you are trying to buy some seafood to bring home, you can keep an eye out for Oceanwise recommended sustainable seafood, where we make suggestions on what sustainable seafood is. And you can bring that home to be more conscious about what you're consuming with your family and friends, if that's something that you would want to integrate and implement into your life a little bit more as well. All right, that is it for me. I'm going to pass it back to Rebecca.
Awesome. Thank you very much. The kids here were all like thinking about their relationship to climate change, and it was like, forest fires are the worst. I don't think any kid in Edmonton has had a normal summer for the last like 3 years. So you got them thinking. It was awesome. Thank you very much, Mala. I'm going to introduce our next speaker now. And for those of us that like hearing from young people, I think you're really going to like this one. So Grace is a grade 11 student. She goes to St. Malachy's Memorial High School in St. John, New Brunswick. She is the founder of 17 by 17. This is a youth-led initiative focused on taking action on all 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals at the community level. Grace is also a member of our Youth Advisory Committee at the Center for Global Education, and she's passionate about impact. Grace is actively involved in student leadership through her school's SRC and participates in musical theater, and I think is actually currently in a run of a musical show right now. She thrives in social environments and loves connecting with new people, learning from different perspectives, and building meaningful relationships, whether leading projects or collaborating with others. Grace is driven by a strong commitment to creating positive change. So thank you very much for being with us here today, Grace. I will pass the microphone and the screen share to you. And we're excited to hear a little bit more about 17 by 17.
Yes, thank you, Rebecca. So before I get started, I just want to apologize because I am still in school right now. So you might be able to hear some of the sounds in the background. I'm just in the yearbook room, which is right outside of the music room that I'm in right now. And let's see.
It looks like it's trying. It's thinking.
Yes, I'm trying to do what I did last time. Maybe it's this.
This is closer. Now I'm seeing something. Yep. It's blurry.
Oh, is this good? Can you see it?
Perfect.
Okay. Perfect. So, as Rebecca mentioned, I'm the founder of a youth-led initiative called 17 by 17 here in St. John, New Brunswick. She also mentioned that I'm in a theater production right now, which is true. Tonight is opening night for that, so I'm super excited. But yeah, let's get into it. So who am I? Well, I'm Grace Totten. I'm someone who loves to meet new people. I love to put myself in situations where I don't know anybody in the room, so I can just meet new people. I think it is amazing to learn about people's cultures, people's lives, and everyone has a different story. And I think it's really interesting to learn about everyone else. I also like to speak at events. You can see in the photo at the bottom, that's me speaking at my school's award ceremony. And the photo at the top is from the musical last year. We did Frozen Junior, and that's me as Oaken, the big guy in the shack who sells stuff to Anna, if you know what that is, if you ever watched Frozen 1. But yeah. So one of the other things that I pride myself in is action projects. So I have a bunch of photos here of all the action projects I've done within the past couple of years. Most of them are this year. So the photo at the top is a beach cleanup. So that I correspond that with UNSDG 15, but it also goes with UNSDG 14. Beside that is a fundraiser I did called Cardboard for Kitty. So that fundraiser is where teams of 2 to 5 people come in and have 2.5 hours to build, design, and create the best cardboard cat homes they can. And all proceeds go to the Redhead Strays, which is an organization that saves 400 cats and homes them per year, which is really cool. At the bottom, you can see food. That was me partnering with Street Team St. John to make a meal for the homeless. And we have a clothing drive right beside that for the Salvation Army. And finally, if you look in the bottom corner to, I think, the right, you can see the panel of experts in sustainability and energy that came into my school to talk to us and answer questions about some UN SDGs. And I do all these projects through 17 by 17. So 17 by 17, as Rebecca mentioned, is a youth-led initiative where I try to implement all 17 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals in my community through actions such as the clothing drives and the beach cleanups, the panels, everything like that. So 17 by 17, though, we have a broader goal, which is to inspire youth across Canada and hopefully eventually globally to do the same and raise awareness about the UN SDGs. So how did I come up with this initiative? Well, this initiative was originally my idea because I have done fundraisers before. So originally I wanted to do like a fundraiser for each one of the UN SDGs, but that was way before I found out about UN SDG number 9, which is industry, infrastructure, and innovation. That would be so hard to fundraise for, as well as UN SDG number 11, sustainable cities and communities. That would be insane to fundraise for. I have no idea how I do it, but eventually once I brought this idea to my mom, she was like, you know, you're turning 17 this year, and there are 17 of those goals. And then the wheels started turning, and we were like, okay, 17 by 17, instead of doing a fundraiser for each one of these actions, how about we do, a fundraiser for each one of these goals? How about we do an action for each one of these goals? So those actions, we thought, they could be small or they could be something big like a fundraiser. Like if you look into the corner, you can see that Cardboard for Kitty is coming back on May 30th. So we're doing that again for UNSDG number 12. And yeah, so that's just kind of how 17 by 17 came along. Now I have a question for you guys. Have you ever done an action towards the UN SDGs? If you have, put it in the chat, or if you want, I can answer couple people. I actually can't see the chat, so
my group is giving me a lot of looks, a lot of thoughts. In general, just for people that are not sure of what all the SDGs are, you can think of anything that has to do with climate action or anything to do with equity, anything to do with human rights. So basically, like any of those actions that you do to support your community. Has anybody here ever taken any of those actions before? I want to chug water for 2 minutes. That kind of counts. What did you do? Planting a tree. We got a great example. Awesome.
Perfect. So yeah, well, I've done some of those actions too. I've never planted a tree though, so I think I might do that one next. But I kind of forget what slide's next. Right, what have I done so far? Okay, so you can see that there's 12 goals completed so far. Number 12, responsible consumption and production, is a goal that at the start of 17 by 17, my mother was like, why not click off the goals you've already done? And so I clicked off 12 because we did Cardboard for Kitty in 2024, but I'm doing Cardboard for Kitty again. So that will be re-completed, you could say, by the end of my 17 by 17 term. But I have done a clothing drive for no poverty. The St. John Street Team meal for number 2, Zero Hunger. Number 4, we are currently doing a 17 by 17 podcast on Spotify if you want to listen. It's where we interview students in St. John or beyond about their projects for the UN SDGs, and then we do a little segment where we talk about those UN SDGs and educate about those UN SDGs, and finish it off with a behind the scenes of 17 by 17 and how you can take action in your community. Number 5, we did a Women's Day webinar with 2 ladies, one Jennifer McGill and the other Tiffany Fields. They talked about their experience in STEM and forestry, which are traditionally more male-dominated fields, and how they kind of work through that. For goal 7, 8, 9, and 11, that was the panel of experts I was talking about, and they came into my school. Number 13, we do climate action stuff all the time. I've been to many climate conferences here in New Brunswick. And we also, my school, each year we do a kind of around the school cleanup. 15 was the beach cleanup, and 17, partnership for the goals. So I actually have a team across Canada with 17 by 17. So I have people from Ontario, British Columbia, Nova Scotia, here in New Brunswick, and Manitoba now, I'm pretty sure. We also have someone from Argentina on the 17 by 17 team, and we have all partnered together to kind of expand 17 by 17 and try to get people to be inspired by this project and know more about the UN SDGs and stuff like that. So how can you make a difference in your communities? Well, oh, I'm lying. What am I going to do for these 2 goals? What am I going to do for these 2 goals? Okay. So I actually just had a meeting the other day with someone from St. John Energy, and St. John Energy does some water energy stuff as well. And he was willing to give us some ideas for goal 14, life below water, and 6, clean water and sanitation, which are the goals that correspond with today, World Water Day. So environmental investigation project here in St. John, New Brunswick, they are going to build a data center in a place called Laurenville. But the problem with that is Laurenville, that's where a lot of wetlands are, and those are very important for our environment. And the data centers, they use a lot of water. So we were thinking to do a freedom of information request, which is basically where we request the information about that center and everything to it from the government, and then they have to give us that information about it. And then we'll do something with that. And then the water conservation campaign, which is something that I really liked when this idea was mentioned. It's basically we get participants and then they monitor how much water they use, such as if they leave the sink on while they brush their teeth, how long their showers take. So they monitor that for a day, and then they try to reduce it the next day to see how much water they can not use in a day, because believe it or not, we use a lot of water, even if you don't know how much you use. And the third one is another beach cleanup, which I've already done, but this time I was thinking cleaning up multiple beaches, stuff like that. So those are some things I will be doing for these 2 goals, and I hope you can take some inspiration for that. Now, what can you do to help? Well, the hashtag 17 by 17 challenge, a challenge on social media, which I don't know how many of you have social media. It's pretty popular, so I'm thinking probably a fair amount have social media. Well, hashtag 17 by 17 challenge is a challenge that you can do, which encourages everyone, regardless of what age you are, to take part in this challenge. It's basically where you do an action towards one of the UN SDGs, like climate action. That's a pretty easy one to think about. What's another one? No poverty, clothing drives, stuff like that. And you take some videos, take some pictures, post it on social media, use the hashtag 17 by 17 challenge in your description of that post, and or tag the 17 by 17 Instagram account. And we will highlight that on the 17 by 17 Instagram account and the website. There's also this other fun thing is that if you are turning 17 or close to turning 17, or maybe right now you want to set this goal to do a bunch of actions towards the goals before you turn 17. So some of you, I'm sure you have a bunch of time to do a bunch of actions for the UN SDGs. So you can do that like me. But remember, if you are someone who are over 17, like one of the speakers, you can do anything for the UN SDGs. It doesn't have to be just before you're 17. Okay. So that's it for my presentation. I hope you all enjoyed. If you have any questions, let me know. If you want to contact me, my email is here, the website 17by17.org if you want to check it out, and the Instagram 17by17.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Grace. It's always such an inspiration to hear about your project. I love hearing you talk about 17 by 17. I was asking my group here how old they are, 12, 13. So I said, you guys still have 4 years to do 17 SDG actions. They have so much time to get it done. So it's nice that we're getting to them a bit earlier. So thank you very much.
No problem.
All right, I would like to welcome next our speaker, Louisa Aquino. So Louisa is the Social Innovation and Outreach Manager with TakingITGlobal. She was born in Manila, Philippines, grew up in Winnipeg, and currently lives in Toronto. She is a global motivational speaker who is passionate about advocating for youth mental health, gender equality, and human rights. And in 2018, she became one of the youngest top 25 RBC Canadian Immigrant Award recipients, and the youngest second RBC Youth Award recipient. So welcome, Louisa. I will say, when I said you were born in the Philippines, I heard a couple cheers from my group. So I think you have a couple friends that are also from the Philippines as well. So I will pass the microphone to you to share a bit about how students can track their actions.
Amazing. Shout out to the ones who cheered. Thanks so much, Rebecca. And thank you so much for having me. To CGE, Grace, that was such an amazing presentation. If I was under the age of 17, I would do it. So if you are under the age of 17, I 100% recommend that you do it. And I will talk a little bit about how that segues into Commit to Act, which is a platform that we run here at TakingITGlobal in partnership with Oceanwise. And so very quickly, what Commit to Act is, at a high level, it is an app and a website that we created with Oceanwise to help people track the impact of their environmental actions. So through the platform, you can see how much carbon emission you reduce with your actions. You can compare and compete against other young people, so your friends, your classmates, and you get to have fun and gamify taking action towards a more sustainable future. And my favorite thing about Commit to Act is it shows you that there's no such thing as an action that is too small. So tying this back to Grace as well, all these amazing things that Grace was doing, these are all great things that you can also track on Commit to Act. So these are little actions as example that you can log on Commit to Act. One of them is sustainable transportation. So that can look like walking to school, that can look like biking, rollerblading, skateboarding, taking public transit, basically anything besides using your own car and going in a car with just yourself. Also avoiding single-use plastics. So that is something that we actively see going on around the world. And so that can be reducing the use of, or fully eliminating the use of plastic straws, one-time use cutlery, plastic containers that are single-use. Water bottles especially, I feel like, are one of the easiest things to do. Planting a garden or tree. So whether that is to grow your own food or just plant a tree in your neighborhood or your backyard. Avoiding fast fashion, that is also a huge one. And we see there in Grace's presentation as well, donating clothes to Salvation Army, for example, that really does help with reducing consumption. And also, I'll give an example of this later on in the presentation, but that can be also something as simple as fixing a hole in your pants and learning how to sew instead of buying a new pair of jeans. Washing in cold water, this is also a great one. A community cleanup. This is something that I encourage everybody to do at least once a year, especially now that it's getting warmer outside. Gather up a few friends, get some family members, do a community cleanup, whether it's a few sidewalks down the street or if it's a shoreline that you're close to. This is something that I feel like we can all do on a very random Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon when it's very nice outside. Another action that you can track is composting food waste. And so instead of throwing out those scraps, I encourage you to learn how to compost, what you can compost. And then lastly, eating plant-based. This is something that I'm also trying to actively do, really decreasing how much I do eat things that are not plant-based. And so, yeah, these are a few of the ideas to help you kind of get your first steps into how you can also start 17 by 17 within these few actions as well. And so each time that you log in action, you get points and you get to choose your own little cute character as you kind of navigate through the platform. So one of the new features of Commit to Act that we have, especially for educators in the room, or if you want to do this with your friends, you can actually make a group and you can see how much CO2 that you've saved this week as a group. And so this is fun if you have competitive students or you're competitive with your friends and you want to see who can raise the most. And then maybe you can say like whoever raises or saves the least amount of CO2 has to run like a lap at the end of the day, or has to do 20 push-ups, for example. So really gamifying and motivating each other to do these little actions is super, super fun. I've done it with our staff here at TakingITGlobal, and it does get competitive if you're a competitive person. So I would definitely recommend checking that feature out. So how to use Commit to Act is very simple. You can go on committoact.org or download the app on your phone. You can just track actions individually, or you can create a group with your friends and compete. Again, for any educators in the room, you can also make an account as a teacher and create accounts for your students as well. And then that way they don't have to sign up with their own email or their own personal information, but you can still have the whole team involved. So some examples and small actions that you can start with. Single steps. First one is eating a plant-based meal at least once a week. I feel like for a lot of us, it's very unrealistic to say we're going to go vegan starting from day one. So these little actions and these one-day actions make so much of a difference, especially if we all do it. Packing a reusable water bottle when you go to school, that is awesome. Walking, biking, scootering, rollerblading, skateboarding, whatever it is that you can do besides take your car, that would be a super helpful first step. Also, bringing and enjoying your food during lunch in a reusable container. And this one is super simple. I used to do this when I would walk home from school as well. Just picking up garbage you pass by on the sidewalk. I still do this when I take my dogs out. If I see random litter, I'll pick it up. But these are just very, very small and easy ways that you can kind of start to get involved in the environment and living sustainably. And this is an example from one of our fellow participants in Commit to Act. They did a workshop actually for somebody, for young girls in their community who are wanting to learn how to sew so that they can fix their old clothes. They can even make their own garments. From this workshop, a lot of young people actually created their own shirts or dresses. And so this really helps with avoiding that consumption and avoiding fast fashion. And so there are so many ways that you can also learn how to sew. You could take it up on TikTok, you could take it up on Instagram or YouTube and learn how to sew. And yeah, I feel like it's just such a cool way to keep your hands moving, keep your like brain active. And then also it's just so cool to be creative. So leaving today, now that I'm wrapping up, I'd love to encourage each of you to write down or think about one thing that you will do to commit to act. So again, whether that's bringing a water bottle to school tomorrow or telling your mom you don't need a ride to school tomorrow because you're walking, whatever that looks like, I encourage you to commit to that and make that promise to yourself and try to do it once a week for even the next month. Thanks so much, everyone, for listening, and I will pass it to you, Rebecca.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So the Commit to Act app, really cool thing if you guys want to do a challenge at your schools, maybe for Earth Day coming up, where different classes can compete to see who can save the most carbon. I highly suggest your teachers get that going for your classes because, again, super fun. And like the winners can like win some sort of cool prize. I think that's so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Louisa. We have all of us here are working on a little art project right now. My next speaker is going to talk a little bit about some more things that you can do with that art to try to make a bigger difference with it when this event is over. So Katie has a background in conservation and biodiversity with experience in the environmental sector, including event coordination, conservation planning, and work with both Canadian and global species. Her passion for the environment, safeguarding species at risk, and promoting a sustainable future motivates her to share her knowledge with others. So welcome, Katie. We're so excited to have you and hear a little bit about what the next steps are for these art pieces. You are muted.
I realize that. Thank you. Thanks, Rebecca. All right. So hi, everyone. And thank you for having me today to talk to you guys about how to create to make a change and how you can use e-cards to express your different thoughts, your opinions and such. And so as mentioned, my name's Katie and I'm the Environmental Education Engagement Manager here at GreenLearning. So at GreenLearning, we deliver different webinars on different environmental topics. We really want to help engage you guys to take climate action. Okay. So GreenLearning as a whole provides free online resources and activities that really focus on climate change, the green economy, and energy. So our goal is to really empower you guys to use your voice, to make some sort of positive change. And we want you to take steps in doing this by using our eCards tool. So you guys have already started with your artwork there. And this tool is a really great way for you to take action by advocating for what matters to you. And on this World Water Day, we want you to take action by creating your very own eCards, okay? We want you to help raise awareness for our environment. We want you to help educate others, use your voice for what you believe in, and to help reach those decision makers, to help really move our world forward in some sort of positive way. Okay, I want you guys to know that your voice is very powerful. And you can see there's a message here from a student who says climate change is a problem of the past and present, but together we can ensure it's not a problem of the future. Strength in numbers. Okay, so I want to share like a few messages here that some students like you ended up turning their messages into these e-cards, and these are actually currently posted on our website. So when they're posted on our website with your artwork and your messages, it gets shared with our environmental education community. Okay, so you can make your message on, say, how you want to protect our water systems, focus on policies that you want to see implemented related to water use, or anything that you want to share on how you even just connect to the water, okay? So we want you to use your voice through that power of art and creativity and come up with different messaging to express your passion and express your concern regarding the environment and the importance of water in our lives. And again, a really neat part of this activity is that your messages or your artwork have that chance to reach decision makers. So by creating that message, you can include someone that you would like us to share your message with, and we will do our best in reaching out to them. So this could be a political figure, it could be a celebrity, family, friends, teachers, anyone you can think of, okay? And you can see these messages shared by a student here regarding government policy by saying, we urge governments to establish structured platforms that facilitate the meaningful involvement of children in climate policy discussions, okay? So you guys, your message and your voice is so important to get across. So please share your e-cards with us. We would love to help you share your message with a wider audience.
Amazing. Thank you very much. So with the art pieces that you guys are sharing today, great to get them uploaded as e-cards. You can send them to your favorite celebrity. They'll get them. They'll get to see what message you're saying. For everyone else as well, I have a couple last reminders before we do our last question, if we have time. Another great space to share your art is with our Art for Action online gallery. I'll send this link to your teachers at the end of the event as well. These pieces are printed and brought with us to the UN Climate Conference. So like for our Canadians in the room, Mark Carney goes to that conference, our Prime Minister, and we'll actually see that art display at the Canadian Pavilion. So your art actually can get in front of these people that are making decisions that can impact you. We are going to get a few of us to share our art pieces in just a moment. I do have one other reminder I would like to share. We have this great quiz that we would love everybody to do before the end of the event or as soon as you wrap up. I popped the link in the chat as well. It's like just a few quick questions about the event, and then it tells you what ocean creature you are. It's kind of like a little BuzzFeed quiz. So you guys can do it on your computer as well. There's a QR code if you would like to scan it and do it on your phones if you have phones. And maybe if we have time as a group, we might do ours as a group. You can do it as a whole class. You can do it as an individual. It will just ask you how many people it's answering for. Those are my couple reminders. Before I do an actual final thank you to everyone that's here, there is one fun thing that we like to do at these events, and that's our cheer. So we're going to do a World Water Day cheer as a group. So what I need everyone to do is if they have a camera and they would like to be in the group photo, turn your camera on. For my group that's here, I don't know if you guys can see your screen. Oh yeah, you can. So you guys can see the camera's kind of here. So if you would like to be in the cheer, you guys can just kind of get up and find a spot kind of in the camera there. Yeah, I see everybody getting ready. Yeah. So what we're going to do is I'm going to count 3, 2, 1, and we're all going to say World Water Day. Do you think you can do it? Yes. It's so crooked. Okay. And my friend Aisha on the call here is just going to take a couple screenshots of us all as we're cheering. Okay, is everybody ready? So the cheer is World Water Day. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. World Water Day. I think we nailed it. That's awesome. You guys can find your seats. Thank you so much. Okay, now we have 2 minutes left. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do a quick rapid fire. If anybody has a piece of art they would like to share, you need to hold it right up to your camera. And as you're doing that, I am going to ask one of our students here. You guys can come back right up around here. And as you share your art, what I would like you to do is let us know your name and then tell us what you think the art piece represents. So come up here. Yep, come on right back. Yeah, and you're gonna have to hold it. Oh, you know what? Maybe I should turn off my background. One moment. I'm gonna turn off my virtual background so that we show up a little bit better. No one's art is gonna show up here. Okay. Okay, so guys, we need to be quiet while we're speaking into the microphone. Okay, so what's your name?
My name is Sanaya.
Okay, and you can hold it right up here. Yep.
And I think my art represents lots of places in Alberta, their oceans, their animals, and also the scenery around Alberta.
Amazing, thank you so much. Okay, we have time for a couple more. What is your name, my dear?
My name is Sage, and my artwork represents what the world, like what the ocean should look like, except for this, because that's garbage.
Beautiful, thank you very much. Okay, 3 more, quick. Hold your art right up here. What is your name?
My name's Liam, and I think my art here represents Earth, the beauty of the animals, and everything we see in our world today.
Amazing, thank you so much. Okay, last 2. Welcome. What is your name?
My name's Ezra, and my art represents all of the beautiful things on our Earth.
Beautiful, thank you so much. Okay, last one. What is your name?
My name's China, and I think my piece represents the beautiful places on Earth.
Amazing, thank you so much. Sure, yes, come on in. No, we're not ready. Okay, we have one last art piece that wants to be shown. Yes. This? We have one last beautiful art piece that just had to be on camera apparently for everyone. I hope you enjoy it. So I wanted to say thank you so much. Thank you guys for being amazing hosts. Thank you to all of our wonderful speakers. I'm going to send lots of links out to your teachers, but please go take action for World Water Day. And thank you for being such an amazing event. We will see you next time. Bye-bye. You guys can